it's Amanda here from Scrimpingmommy.co.uk, and today I'm going to make a really simple card aimed at new crafters to show that you don't have to have 1,000,001 supplies to make nice cards. Okay, so I'm also doing it as part of my hashtag 100 things, and also I might send some of these cards out, so I'm killing about 10 birds with one stone here. So we're using one stamp set, accented blooms. You've got everything you need here to make lovely cards. We've got a beautiful statement piece, we've got some other pieces here, we've got sentiments, and we've got some little decorative pieces. You can make lots and lots of cards with this, just this one stamp. It doesn't come with dies, so if you're new to crafting, it's not going to cost you a fortune. You can get a coordinating punch, but you don't have to have it. You can still make great cards without it. And I'm choosing to use just the one colour, and I'm using Balmy Blue. And I've got the ink pad and the card to match, and then I know it's going to go together perfect because the shades are exactly the same. And that is the great thing about Stampin' Up. If a colour is Balmy Blue, then the ink and the card and any ribbons or anything else that says it's Balmy Blue will all match perfectly. So your shades will match. So let's get cracking. So I'm starting with some Whisper White card. Now this is the thick Whisper White. There's two different weights that we do. And the thick one is great if you're making cards and you're using it for a base, because it's more sturdy and it'll stop your card going like that on the mantelpiece. So we're cutting this to 4 1/8 on the short side. Okay, save that. And then I like to trim mine to 11 1/2. That's my personal preference. You can just fold that in half and go from there, but it makes it easier for me to remember my sizings if I have it perfectly even. So I trim mine to 11 1/2, and that little tiny piece is all we're going to waste. Doesn't matter, that's it, don't matter. And then I know that I can just score that at 5 3/4. Okay, so I'm not guessing my sizes. I know exactly what I'm doing, and I can do it over and over again without forgetting, although sometimes I do. And then we're going to get some of our blue, and we're going to trim a layer to 4 inches by 5 5/8. So we're going to cut the 4 inches on the short side again. It's just the more economical way of doing it, I think. Okay, move that to one side because you can make a card base out of that, and cut it to 5 5/8. Okay, which is there, and that'll just give you a very tiny increment all the way around so it looks lush. Okay, and then you need a stamp layer, so we're bringing our Whisper White back in, and this needs to be 3 1/2 inches by 5 1/8. So we're going to cut our 5 1/8 on the long side. Okay, so 5 1/8, move that, by 3 1/2, 3 1/2. Now we've got this off cut here, that is not wasted because I would use that for a sentiment. Just let me check that that's straight. Yeah, okay, so that's my stamping layer. Right, so let's get stamping. So I'm going to put that on my grid mat so that I know it's fairly straight. Bring in that large statement stamp. I'm going to ink it up really nicely. Make sure it's got a really good covering of ink all around. Okay, and then I'm just going to go for it. Main shot. And I'm just aiming for the bottom section. I've got it lined up on my block, which is an E block, and I'm just going to give some gentle pressure. You don't have to like stand on it or jump up and down on it or anything, no. But gentle pressure, and you get a perfect stamp. Now this is an E block, which is it's not the largest, I would say it's medium, and you can get lots of blocks in lots of different sizes. I've collected them over time, but if you're a new crafter, go for a medium size block first, because basically you could remove that stamp and add your little sentiment and then restamp, but if you buy a small block you can't take that off and put that big one on. So I always start with a larger block and collect them going down in sizes that way. That's the best way to do it. Right, so I'm going to stamp this hello now, but I'm going to do it on another piece of card. And then the reason being, if it misstamps, if I'm a new stamper, if it misstamps, I haven't ruined my card. Okay, so gently add ink onto this one, and I'm going to do it right in the bottom corner of this piece so that I'm not wasting, because I can get loads out of there. And we've got a lovely, lovely image there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fussy cut. Now you can get a punch that does this, but if you're new, you might not want to pay out, so you can fussy cut this by hand instead. Okay, and it's easy to fussy cut because it's all straight edges, so anybody could do it. Okay. Can't, even I'm managing to cut that straight, and I can't cut anything straight. Okay, so we're just going to leave that there to dry for a minute. And I've brought in this sentiment which says, where are we? Always thinking of you. Okay, now again I'm going to find my scrap, and I'm just going to practice stamp to make sure I have got my stamp the right way up. Because I am going to stamp straight onto the card this time. Now it's the right way up and it's straight. I'm happy with the position of it, so I'm going to go for it. I'm going to bring my card a bit lower, and I'm going to just stamp it kind of in this area here where we've got a big white space. So I'm just going to stamp that there. I'm just going to go for it and hope that it stamps nicely, which it has stamped perfectly. That's the really good thing about the red rubber stamps. Okay, so I've also got this little embellishment one, which is just some little leaves. Am I having that one, or shall I have this? I quite like that. I don't know, the little flower. I think I might change it for the little flower, actually. When I first had a go at the card, I used that, but I think I've changed my mind. So I've got this little flower. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my clear block here, and then I'm going to line up my stamp. I'm just going to do it down here where I can see. I'll just go off camera a minute because I want it to be straight. Okay, so what I've done is I've lined it up on there. There we go. And gently ink that. I'm going to practice stamp because it's the first time I've inked this stamp up. And how pretty is that? Oh wow, I like that. So I'm going to stamp one just underneath there like that, and that looks really pretty, and I'm going to leave it like that. So now I'm going to start and put my card together. Let me put my ink away before I stick my arm in it. I'll be going on the school run with balmy blue elbows. Right, so first of all we're going to put our coloured layer on. So I'm using wet glue, best thing to use if you're new or you can't get things straight. I still struggle. But if you use wet glue, you've got that little bit of time for some wiggle room, okay? Because it's quite a small increment that we've got there, so we don't want it to be wonky. Okay, and you've got time to move it about, just push it about and have a look, nice and straight, perfect. Okay, same with this one now. Okay, and once you've made a few, you could make a whole batch of these in next to no time. Should be just on a roll, wouldn't you? Okay, so we're looking to centralise that, and I've done a bit of a bigger border there, and the reason being so you can see that lovely blue card, and then it like brings out the blue of the stamping. I've got glue on my fingers. Careful you don't have glue on your fingers. I've mucked on there. I've got a bit of wet glue on there now. I'll get it off later with a glue eraser. Make sure your hands are clean. I've got a gluey fingerprint. Not to worry. Okay, so add in 2 dimensionals. Again, these are inexpensive, and putting that up on dimensionals will just add a bit of a nicer element to this. What is a basic card, but you know, Nothing wrong with simple cards. And there you go. You've got an absolutely lovely card there. I hope you'll give that a try. I hope that encourages you to realise that you don't need to spend $1 billion to make a card. Just get making them and get sending them. Thanks for watching. Bye.